Now, these are, I've given you an activity to try for match the following. Have you all got that activity on your screen? If so, what you are supposed to do, you have to click on the icon of a tool, and then you have to click on the purpose for which this tool is being designed, and then you have to do match the following. So please try it. There is no need to think that these are technological things or you don't know the answer. Just give it a try, just for fun, just to give you an idea that this is what you can do with this tool. So you click on an icon and then try to find out its purpose. So wherever you find its utility, click on that utility so that you will understand that this particular tool is for what purpose, and that defines your pair. Give it a try. Don't worry, even if you all get it all wrong, you will get at least the feeling of the interface. First click on an icon, then click on the text which describes that icon. Wow, I can see many people have started. Vandana ma'am has started. Raju sir has started. The Jeet Kaur ma'am has started. Sonia ma'am has started. Everybody, please try it at least. Veena ma'am, Mamta ma'am, you all can try it at least. No matter even if all the answers are wrong, I understand many of us are not computer teachers here. Just give it a try. Just to understand how this particular activity will work when you will do it with your students.
तीन तीन एक वो गली में है ना, जो साथ वाली गली में है ना, उस साइड पे किया। वो खोलते हैं जब कोई वो रश होता है ना, तो ऑटो उसको उधर लाइन में लगा के ना बच्चे उधर से निकालते हैं।
Anjana ma'am, try this activity. You haven't started yet. Wow. Somebody has got a 9 on 9. Raju sir. Yes.
Whenever we were submitting, it was coming with a cross.
So see, you have to click on an icon and then click on description that matches. If it comes with a right sign, it means your answer was correct. If it comes with your wrong sign, means the first pair was wrong. Then you can move ahead with the next pair.
Okay.
For example, if you click on Kahoot's icon and then you click on its matching description for formative assessment. So you have to click first the icon and then its description. Then it will show the pair match is correct. Wow, so many people in the room have got some correct, absolutely correct answers also. Mamta ma'am, do you have any difficulty? Manju ma'am, can I help you in trying it? Anjana ma'am, now you got one correct? Yeah.
Yes, yes, now understood. All right.
Okay, so this was, I wanted to give you a flavor of this kind of activity, which is possible to be created and conducted on this portal. Moving ahead, because I have to teach you also how to design this kind of activity. So I'll just take you, it says, next is, if you see there is a video. So because of the proximity of time, I haven't actually made a question. But
किसी को भी दिखा नहीं तो दिनेश की दुकान से पहले 2-3 दुकान है।
Okay, I'm not going to show this full 6-minute video here to you, but can someone, Rupesh sir, can you confirm, were you able to see the video in the presentation?
Yes, we are able to see the presentation video.
Okay, so this is just to give you a feel that if you have made a lesson, could you hear the voice of the video also?
Yes, we are able to see the voice of the video.
Okay, so moving on the next slide. So I wanted to just give you a feel. So this is possible to add a video in a Nearpod lesson. And next, if you see, this is a virtual field trip. I just watch it carefully. Even if you give it to the students this lesson and there is this button enter VR. So the students, those who have VR facility in their phone or they have VR heads, they will be able to see this particular location in 3D form, as you can see. So I can actually show it in 3D. So this is a virtual lesson. Can someone tell me which place is this? Any guesses?
Burj Khalifa.
Fantastic. That's the right answer. So it's a virtual field trip to Burj Khalifa. Now, see, if you are a language teacher and or maybe, you know, any subject. So if you want to give, let's say history teacher wants to give some idea about architecture of a place. So you figure out its a virtual field trip from the net and put the link of that video in your lesson. Give students that feel. This particular platform allows the students to see that particular area which you are showing in 3D, and students will be able to see all the aspect of the architecture. Or maybe a language teacher can say that, you know, observe carefully and then write a composition on your virtual trip to Burj Khalifa. So this kind of activities can be incorporated. After showing the video, the teacher could have asked that, you know, which place is this? What did you observe? What you liked about the architecture, or what are the things that you really liked about this? So this kind of activity can also be created. Now, this is just one quick question. So I'm starting one activity, just answer, and then I will take you to my slides, how to make these kind of lessons. So the question is, a Nearpod presentation lesson can have, there are 3 options on your screen which you can select. Could you all see the 3 answers on your screen, A, B, and C? Okay, I got a C from many people and an A also. No worries. So you will be able to realize it after I show you what is the correct answer. So here, when I was giving you a feel of the lesson, so you must have observed at some places I added some content for you to see, and at some places there were activities. So basically C is going to be the right answer, because this platform allows us to add content, and as well as to make our lessons interactive, we can have activities along with the lesson content. Now coming to my last screen, which is, it says, are you ready to learn how to create your own lessons in Nearpod? So let's go. Let's set go. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a quick run through of this software, and I'm going to show you how, as educators, you can join this platform and create your own lessons the way I created today's presentation. So as a teacher, how can you create your own lessons along with activities? So for any queries, or can I start with the demo? Anyone has any query, please unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. Anyone, any thought, any query?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, please
Hello.
go ahead.
Ma'am, can you please tell me again, because in the beginning I didn't join. So how to start with that? I was not able to answer any question what you were asking.
Okay.
How to
Maybe
type
you
in, how
joined
to
in
do
late
that?
when I started the live lesson. So I'm going to take you now to the virtual tour of this tool, Nearpod. which we are learning today. So I'll be teaching you through a tutorial. You all are educators. Obviously, I cannot teach you. I'll just be showing this particular tool and just showing its feature. And later on, you all will be able to create your own lessons, the kind of lesson I created. So basically, Nearpod is a tool to create interactive lessons. It not only allows you to create your own content like PowerPoint, you can also design your activities using the same tool. Now, presently what is happening, the teachers design their content in PowerPoint, Word, PDF, but when they want to do an interactive activity, they go to a third-party platform. Maybe you will teach through PowerPoint, but you will use a Google form to conduct assessment. Maybe you will teach through, a Word document, but you will use a Kahoot quiz to do assessment. So your activities are on a different platform, and your lesson is on a different platform. To provide you a solution with that problem, I have just done some research and I found this interesting tool on internet, and its name is Nearpod. So I'm just going to show you now the live tutorial how you can actually go on Nearpod. So go to any browser. I'm closing this particular lesson which we were using. So I'll come back and I will stop this lesson. So you go to, I'll just sign out from my account so that I can show you from the very beginning how to go about it. So the first step is you type on any browser, Google Chrome, Edge or Internet Explorer. So you have to type nearpod.com. So type nearpod.com and it will ask you to sign in with your account. The options given there are, I'm just showing you that account, so I'll just sign out. It's not signing out, so that you can see my screen. So I'll log out from here and then show you from the beginning. So this is the home page that you get when you type nearpod.com, and there is an option for teachers to sign up for free. You can click here, sign up for free. And when you click on this option, you get these kind of options. You can sign in with Google, you can sign in with Office 365. This is your domain because you are a teacher. If you are a student, you don't have to sign in and give your personal information. You can always start the lesson which the teacher has given you a code to join with. Like you all had no account on Nearpod, and when I took today's session, I gave you a code to join as students and you all joined my session. The same way, students, you just have to give one instruction, go to join.nearpod.com and enter my lesson code, and then you can do the lesson with them. Now, since I have already signed up, I'm not going to sign up, but you can certainly sign up using your whatever ID you want to. And once you have signed up, so I'm going to log in because I have already signed up. So I click on this particular option, login, not sign up. And I have used my Office 365 account to sign in, login. So I'm logging in with Office 365, but it's okay to sign in with Google, or you have a Yahoo, Hotmail, Rediff, any ID that you can put in over there. So I'm signing in as using my Microsoft account. Once you sign in, you come to this particular interface, right? So this particular interface is there, and now you are going to start your first lesson creation. Now how to go about it? There is this plus button. It says create. Here it's lesson in Nearpod. So I'm going to create a lesson in Nearpod. So I'll click on this option. Now, before you want to create your own, there is an option to explore the free lessons which are already on this platform. So if you click on this, explore our free lessons and add one for free. So you could choose this option, but I am going to teach you today how to make your own lessons. So I will click on here, click create, and I say lesson in Nearpod. So this is my untitled lesson. Lesson title says untitled. So let's say we are going to design this lesson on, since I'm a computer teacher, so I'm going to take it on computer devices. You can choose any topic of your choice. So I'm writing here computer devices. And now it is asking me, what do you want to add to your lesson? The first option is add a slide. So this is an advisory that first option should be a slide, because first screen should be welcome screen or stating the topic and all. Now my question to you was, in the last question in my activity was, the Nearpod allows you to do what? Add content, add activity, or do both. So you can see here it's showing that Nearpod is a tool which is used to add content, add web content which is ready-made, add your own content from the system, or add an activity. So for the first slide, I am going to take add content. And how can I add my content? It can be in the form of a slide. It can be in the form of a 3D object which is already there in the Nearpod gallery. It can be a simulation. So if those of you, I'm sure science teachers must be aware of it. PHET is a simulation site where many experiments and simulation of science lab experiments is already available on this platform. So you can bring it over there. Then field trip, like I took you to the field trip of Burj Khalifa. So you can bring any field trip. I showed you a video on modern challenges. So I got that from BBC video. So there are plenty of content variations that is available in this particular option to download. If you have a sway, means a pre-presentation, you can embed it here. If you have a slideshow or a video or an audio file or PDF, so there are, or a live Twitter tweet which you want to discuss in your class, you can bring anything here. So my first thing is, I'm going to start from, again, I press some wrong button it seems. So I'll click on create lesson in Nearpod, and then I am going to give my title here. So as I said, computer devices by, let's say I'm writing my name so that my students know this lesson I have created. Then I click on add slide. I click on add content. So for ease, I am keeping the first thing as PowerPoint slide. So I just want a simple slide. So I'm taking add content slide. So this is my first slide. Now these are the options, themes in which I can add my slide. So I used this orange one for my lesson, which I showed you earlier. Now let's say I take this particular theme, and here my title is computer devices. So I'm putting my topic computer devices, and then if I have any image to upload, so let's say I can click on upload. I can upload from system, or I can click here on this button plus, and I can say image, and then I can do a Google search. So let's say I'm writing here computer devices. So I can directly have an image from internet, and I can put it over here, and I can say save. So my first chapter is on computer devices. So I have made this home screen, and then after this I want to maybe, so I'll click and save. So I'm writing here save and exit, so that my first slide is saved. So I'll say save. Now my first slide is saved. So you have to save it slide by slide. Now what are slides? Slides are the part of your lessons which can be content or activities. So your activity is also a slide and your content is also a slide. Now suppose you want to do an activity after this. So instead of content, I am going to go to add activity, or maybe before that, if I want to show a video, I'll go to add content, and then let's say I want to put a video. So when I say video, I can do a YouTube search directly from here. And let's say I'm writing input output devices for middle school. So I'm doing a Google search, and it's directly giving me the access of YouTube from within Nearpod. So I select any random video here and I say save. Obviously, as a teacher, I will first check it whether it's suitable for me to show it to my students or not. Now I understand that they have a fair understanding of input output devices, and I want to give them an activity. So I click on add slide, then I click on add activity, and then let's say I want to give them matching pairs. As I gave you one, so I want to give them matching pairs. So I click on matching pairs, and then these are the instructions. So I'm writing match the picture of the hardware, a picture of the device, with its purpose. So let's say that's my question. So I've written my question over here. Question limit here is about 150 characters. So you can write your question here. Now I'm going to add my first pair. So click on add pair. So let's say I write here as an image. So suppose my first image that I want from Google is of a printer. So I write here printer, and then I select a printer, and at the bottom there is a save button. I'll save it, and here I enter a text. Let's say this device is used to get hard copy. You have to write the correct answer in front of the pair, but when it will go to the student, software will jumble it, and the pairs will not come adjacent to each other. They will come in one corner of the grid. So my printer will not come along with its description on the screen of child. When the child will see, it will be all jumbled. So how many pairs? Let's say I'm going to add here 5 pairs. So the 10 screens, which the small columns which will come on a child screen, they will be all jumbled. So printer's purpose will go to any other corner of the grid. So let's say I'm writing here, this device is used to get hard copy of the output. That's my description. I say done. I can click on another pair. So then I say add an image, and let's say now I write here keyboard, and then I click on search. So I'll get some images of keyboard. I can select that, again save, and I can write its description is an input device give text input to the computer. By typing whatever description I want to give. So I'm writing here by typing. And then you can, if you want to add another pair, you can click on this. Otherwise, let's say I'm just doing done. So this is my second activity, first activity of this lesson. So I save it. Now see the flow of my lesson, how it's going. So I created first an introduction slide, then I created a video, then I created a matching pair activity. Can someone please unmute and confirm me? Are you getting the flow of lesson, how I'm going, or I'm going very fast? You are not able to pick up.
No, you're going absolutely fantastic. Sonia, we're able to understand.
Thank you for that confirmation. Any doubt so far to anyone?
Looks very easy.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now I click on add slide. So I'm just going to tell you one more thing. So if you have to go to content, click on add content. If you want activity, click on add activity. So if you see these activities, there are different kind of activities. One is time to climb. So what is a time to climb activity? There are some ready-made time to climb activities also. Plus you have your own quizzes also, where you can set difficulty wise questions. So suppose I can put 10 questions easy, 10 moderate, 10 difficult. So that when the child will click on one level, then it will go to next level. Next is open-ended question, where you can, there is no fixed answer, but you can entertain any kind of answer. So it's an open-ended question. Matching pair. Quiz, I use the last question as a quiz where I asked you the purpose. I will want to show you Flipgrid. Now there is this draw it option. So for example, you give them an image. Let's say I go to draw it. This is interesting. So I want to show you this. So I want to do a draw it activity, and here I'm uploading an image. So I'm again selecting an image. Let's say I'm selecting the same image, computer devices. And so let's say I pick up this particular image, and then I want the child to circle the device, the input device, which is used to draw, which is used to play computer games. So this is my main screen. So I have done it. There was an option to save, give instruction. So I'm writing here, please draw a circle around the device can be used to a computer game. So now suppose right answer is joystick. So child has to draw a circle here in front. When the child screen comes, this question will come with a pencil. So using mouse or using touch screen or by just dragging drop, the child can draw here. So the child has to actually select this area. So there is no right or wrong answer, but just to have them creative platform. The teachers can ask them to, maybe English teachers can ask them draw the character sketch of this character of the story that for which you just watched the video. So different subjects can use it. Maybe a geography teacher can show them a geographical location and they can ask them draw a circle around the igneous rocks, or maybe a spot which is prone to earthquake. So any kind of question can be framed in any subject using this kind of activity. So draw is an interesting activity which we can use. Maybe chemistry teacher can give, periodic table, and you can ask to circle a particular chemical which is used for a particular element which is used for a specific purpose. So whatever you add here, activity or content, that will become a part of your lesson slide. Now let me show you two last slides to you, and then we'll see how this lesson runs on your system. So if you have to add web content, you can give directly a URL. Now this URL, if you are doing this activity in school, so that it's given an advisory, make sure the URL that you give is not banned by your school privacy policy. So suppose I have planned a lesson and I give a particular URL to watch a movie, but my school has blocked all movies of a particular author. So of a particular director. So my children will not be able to see that clip in a live lesson. So that's a advisory which is given on the screen. Make sure when you are doing this in school, so you should not include the URLs which is banned by some other, by your school. So suppose I am giving here the URL of my school website. So I am writing here just as an example, sanskarvalley.org. So here and if you want to be rest assured that this link works, before sending it to the students, you can test this link. So it is actually taking me to my website. So I'm sure that this URL will work. This is correct. Then you can click on save. So web content means you are bringing the ready-made content from somewhere. So our website has come. Now one more card. In the activity section, I am going to share a PPT with you or a URL rather, where you would find the purpose of each of these activity and the steps to design them. However, it's super easy. The first screen where I'd asked you your purpose to join this session today, that was collaborative. So I could design a collaborative wall. I did use a poll when I was doing an activity with you. I did not use fill in the blanks. So I did matching pair, quiz, poll, collaborative. So many of the activities I tried to give you a feel in the lesson, which I did with you. Collaborate was the one which I used first. So in collaborate, you get a wall. So you put your question there. So suppose my question is any device, put the name of any device which you feel is of utmost need to you while working on computer. So suppose whatever question, so it has a question limit. So I can go in up to put the name of device. Suppose I break my question here and I take the remaining portion in the description. So I say which you feel is of, I made the spelling mistake. Giving them this kind of question. So when we will have a collaborative wall, so students will be able to post their opinions, which device they use while working on the computer. Then whatever, if you want to give a thank you card or any slide, so then you can have one more slide and add content. If it's a normal slide, just go to normal slide. I want to show you this field trip also. So field trip is, there are some predefined field trips which you can leverage. Now, if you want to add your own field trips, for example, I want to have a field trip about the 3D printed building in Dubai. So Dubai has the first largest 3D printed building, and I want to show my students the, you are the virtual tour for that. So suppose I write here 3D printed building. Let's see if it is on their Neopad library, it will come. So 3D printed sculptures, it is coming, but exactly what I want, that is not coming. Now this is something else, 3D printed pavilion, this is coming, and I'm not sure whether it is the one in Dubai which I want to show it or not. So this is something else. Now how to enter my, there is a 3D video which is on YouTube, but I want to bring it here. In the free version, I do not have that facility. So we all, when we join, we are silver members on Neopad. The gold members are able to add their own repository to these tools. So if you have a field trip which you want to bring from YouTube and add to their libraries, that benefit is only there with the gold members. And how can become a gold members without paying? I will show you that as well. So, but whatever is available on their platform, you can easily bring that field trip in your lesson. So see, field trip is added. Similarly, the International Board Cambridge, they have collaboration with BBC. So BBC brings in many educational videos based on different topics. And those latest trending videos are also available on this portal. So if you go to add slide and go to add content, if you want to give a case study to the students by telling them that see this video and solve this questionnaire. So then like history, there are many. So there are, this is basically in alignment with IB syllabus and all. And these are the top trending videos which are coming. So you can check from here, history lessons, lessons related to environment, health, innovation and technology. So these 5 lessons topics, it's available here. And as I said, you cannot add on your own until unless you are not a gold member. But whatever is given here, you can certainly leverage that. So you can add a BBC, video, and you can give a questionnaire based on that video. So this is how the lesson will build up. Now, how to give this lesson to the students? There are 2 ways to do it. First, once you have done your lesson, you can preview it. You can share it. First of all, I'm going to save it. So the first step is save it. So I'm going to save it. My lesson details is computer devices by Sonia Vadva. And this lesson is meant for, let's say, grade 7 and subject computer science, or I can choose tech and computer science is one topic which is given over here. Why they're asking this description? So that people, when they search public lessons, these lessons will be available for other educators to search. So my lesson is now being saved and I will see it in my content. So this is my lesson. So my lesson on computer devices is saved over here. The lesson which I was running with you, that was E4 EdTech Sundays. This is here, which I run with you. Now, this lesson, I can assign it to students in 2 ways. One is live lesson, another is student paced. Means there are 2 kind of remote learning lessons which we all create. One is synchronous or real-time live lessons when we and our students are together. So I did a live lesson with you, but I'm okay if my child is doing this lesson at home at his leisure and I am getting the response to his answers and activities. So then I can assign it as a self-paced lesson. I did live it with you because when I was changing the screens, then only you were going to the next activity. However, in a student paced, the student will be able to check the lesson and do the activities at his or her own leisure, and teacher will be from the back end will be able to get the report. Now, when you do a live lesson, click on live lesson. So before today's session, what I did, I clicked on live lesson. I got my lesson code, and then I gave you a PowerPoint slide that go to join.nearpod.com, or I can, take a screenshot of this and I can post it, or I can share this screen with my students and say that, so today's lesson will be on Nearpod, go to join.nearpod.com and then type this particular lesson code. The moment they do that, they are with you. Now you will enhance the slide and they will do the activities. And on your screen, you will not get to see the activities. You will get to see students' name-wise marks and response to activities. So teacher view is totally different from student view. In teacher view, you will get what you designed in one corner of the screen, and in half corner of the screen you will get to see the responses of your students. So as I was prompting that, Anjana ma'am, you have not started the quiz, or I was counting that, very good Daljit ma'am, you answered all correct. So I was able to see your responses from my screen. So it was super easy for me to check who all are doing, who all are with me. So nowadays we all are taking classes online. So it's a big challenge how to ensure whether the child has just signed in or gone somewhere or is with us. So by after every 2-3 slides of content, we can have a quick activity, maybe just one quiz question to engage them, to see whether they were listening to us or not. So that's why I thought this particular platform will be very nice to use for remote teaching, where you have your slides also here, you have your activities also here. After every 3-4 slides, we can put an activity to ensure that they are with us and they are listening to us and following the instructions what we are teaching them. I hope you have got some sense of how to leverage this particular tool and how to design your lessons.
Yes, Sonia, just definitely try it out.
Okay, so you can see I am now going to show you one presentation which I was starting with. So this is there is a program called Nearpod Certified Educator Program. So this is the link to that program. I will paste these slides in the Teams window. You can get them later on also, this PPT for your reference. So if you become a certified educator, actually you will get the 6-month gold membership. So this is like Nearpod pricing. So this is, we all are silver member if you are using free. If we want to become gold member, then we get access to many advanced features. So if you want to become a gold member without spending $120 for 1 year, you become the certified educator. So then you will get this for 6 months for free. And to become a certified Nearpod educator, you just have to submit your one lesson online and you have to fill a form for which the link is given here. If they feel that your work is good, you are an educator who can leverage this resource, they will make you Nearpod certified educator. They will give you a certificate and you will get for 6 months the free membership of Nearpod gold membership. It means you will be able to bring in your own content to their portal. Now there is this URL which you can explore, and it has step-by-step process. So if I click here, so it has step-by-step process how to add different kind of activities and content. So like if you want to add a collaborative activity, draw in matching pairs. So this is the URL from where you can learn at your pace. And I'm going to put this PPT here. Now one question which may come to your mind is, what is the size of files and all which we can upload in the free version? At times it may happen that you have downloaded a video or you have made a video by recording yourself and you are trying to upload it from your computer to your presentation and it's not uploading. Maybe this is the problem, that the file that you are uploading, its image size is more than 3 MB, its video size is more than 20 MB. So these are the limitations of the file sizes that you can upload in a free version. So at some point of time when you are trying to upload something and it's not taking, it says fail to upload, it means your file size is more than these requirements. I hope I could make it clear that how to make an interactive lesson in Nearpod. You can randomly unmute yourself and give me some feedback that how did you like the tool and will you be comfortable, practicing it in your classroom?
Just a quick question. For Nearpod, you need not have the Microsoft Teams. Even on Google, we can go and do the Nearpod thing, right?
See, I'm also taking this meeting on Teams, but I did Nearpod lesson on Google and now I was sharing my screen from Teams. Right. So any other platform can come to Teams by using the screen share option.
Okay.
So you open any third-party software and then you share your screen through Teams. So this particular Nearpod lesson, I was running it through Teams because I shared my screen. So anything, whatever is on my screen, you will be able to see that. So meeting is going on through Teams, but the lesson that I designed was in Nearpod. So if some schools have started using Google Meet or Teams or Zoom, so they can, you know, design a lesson in Nearpod, and using their share screen option, they can run the lesson. And if you're doing totally a remote learning model without live lessons, then you can design a lesson in Nearpod and give it as a student self-paced lesson activity and assign them as a self-paced activity. Means it will not be a live lesson. You can set the time limit for the child to complete it in 3 days, watch the lesson and do the activity, and then it will be a child student centric, student paced lesson, and you will get the report as an educator.
So you can send the link to the child.
You have to send these 2 instructions only. Go to join.nearpod.com and type my lesson code, and you are good to go.
Okay.
I gave you a lesson code when I started. You all joined my lesson. So I gave you 2 instruction only. Go to join.nearpod.com, and then I gave you the code of my lesson. So only these 2 instructions you also need to give it to your students.
Great, great. It was really a wonderful session. Very interactive and very interesting.
Yes,
Sonia,
ma'am.
this side Pawan here. This is the really very nice session, and I have one query. Suppose we have created activity, okay, like parts of computer. This was the one activity, and if I am going to again create one more activity, so the code will be different every time. New code will be going to generate.
No. If you have one lesson and in that you are, see, do not generate a lesson code unless you have not finished all the activities. So your lesson is made up of 2 things: your slides, which has content, and your activities. So once your everything is ready, then click on save lesson button and then generate the code. So suppose you think that today night you have made 4 activities in the lesson, you have generated the code and you have shared it with the students. Next morning you feel that I want to add 2 more activities to the same lesson. So you can edit your lesson. I'll show you my screen. I can go back and I can edit my lesson which I just created, but then my lesson code will change. After, so suppose this was my lesson code FYVDW. Now suppose I want to edit this lesson further, so I can, go to edit lesson, but next time it may generate a random new code for me. So there is this edit lesson button. So I can go to edit. It says your previous code will be lost. So it's okay. I can, add one more activity to it, which maybe it did not click to me while I was working on the lesson. So it already had 8 slides. Now I can add one more slide to it. I can add one more activity to it. And then when I finally click on save and exit, and then I click on assign lesson as a, so it is saving now. Now, when I rethink to assign it to my students as a live lesson or as a self-paced lesson, so you would see that the code now starts from M. Are you getting? A previous code was starting from F. So my code is changed.
Okay.
And by default, it has 1 month validity for a self-paced lesson, but you can click on calendar and you can set the deadline. So 19th April lesson was assigned. It will be active by default for 1 month. You can increase the date or decrease the date. So suppose I want to keep it active just for 2 days. So it will be active for 2 days, 3 days. You can set it that way.
Thank you so much.
When you click on view progress, you can see the progress of your students, how they have started and what is the response to their activities, how have they done it. So when you click on view progress, you get to teacher's view. So it says waiting for students to sign in because no one has signed in to actually do this lesson so far. That's why this kind of screen is coming. Anyone, any other thought? So I think I can close the call if you do not have any queries. I'll see you on next Sunday. Just one request. I am going to create a hashtag. So if you like any session and you want to recommend it to other educators, you can use my hashtag and just promote it on social media so that many educators can benefit from these sessions. Thank you very much. You feel free to share when I give you a code to join. If you feel any other educators in your school would like to join, you can give them. So let's, make as many people tech savvy as we can because this is the need of our. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you.